Hey guys, welcome to Coding After 30. Yeah, you thought I was frozen? I was holding still. No, what's up guys? Hope you guys doing great. Let me know if the audio's good before I get really into it. The music's not too loud. Welcome to Coffee Coding Chat. I got my coffee here, bringing it back to the most important stuff is staying fully caffeinated, very important. So we're going to continue working on our Dev Hunt project. So basically the whole point of this live stream is for me to kind of keep a dev blog of me working on this project, which is a way for you guys to be able to add your projects and eventually for recruiters be able to see who has the highest rated projects. That's like way down the road, right? I have this idea of something that I want to create, but the most important part is starting it super slow. So if you haven't been with us and this is your first stream, it's okay. We have fun here. We go nice and easy. Take it easy. And I'll show you the project. Right now, it's super simple project. I'm going to kind of give you an overview first, and I'm going to talk about what we're going to do first. I know I talked about a couple of different things that I want to do, but I want to tell you what we're doing. So first, let me just share my screen and show you the project here. Oh, my head is being cut off here. Let me fix that. Boom. Put it in the center. So this is the current project that we have. We finished our first sprint. Our first sprint was basically, okay, can we talk to our backend and get some projects to show up? So that was check. We have these projects showing up. You could see the live demo of the project, right? You can see the GitHub link for this project. So if someone was interested to see the code, so that works. Then in order to like a project or to leave comments, you do have to sign in, and I always forget my sign in here, but that's okay. We're just gonna guess. Once you are signed in, you're able to now go to a project. Let me go back to the one that I was in. You're able to go to a project, and now you could leave comments. Hello. And so that works great, right? Boom, hello. And then we go home. You know, I could like, I could unlike. So that works really good. All of that, you know, is being saved to our backend. Our backend is done with Strapi. So we got that basic functionality of being able to display the projects. We have the basic functionality of being able to show, albeit, you know, very basic detailed page, but the links work. Everything works good. We have our dashboard just in case if you wanted to add a new project. So all of that stuff works great. So the whole idea here, we are going to have multiple users, and the idea here is that what if somebody logs out and then they forget their password, they're trying to type their password, they're trying to sign in, and they're not able to sign in. So what do? Well, you want to give the user this ability of being able to, you know, reset the user's password. And I know prior stream, let me come back here so you guys could see the method of how and why I teach these things. Before, like a couple of streams ago, I talked about, no, we're going to make a section for developers where you could get the developers' basic information and get, you know, how many projects they have and details like that. But at work, I was working on a email reset password, and I was like, you know what, that would be a cool feature to implement in our project. And so notice the whole point why this project is cool and important is because I am literally trying to do the same things I'm doing at work. So this way it gives you a more realistic expectation of what kind of things do you do at work when you start working. And so instead of me just saying like build this clone, build that clone, I'm just like, well, what kind of problem did I solve at work? So let me incorporate this into my application. Like, to give you an example, I didn't do it on the stream yet, but I did implement it here. One of the things that I had to do, I'll talk about it later, but like one of the things I had to also do is if someone sits idle, implement the timeout feature so it automatically logs out the user if they don't do anything. And so I want to talk about things that I actually do at work and build them in our projects, incorporate them in our projects, so you guys get a better idea that just creating a website which just shows data and doesn't have CRUD, maybe you're not working with authentication, that should be your goal. That should be your next step to get to that point, because that's exactly what you're going to be doing at work. And we got Andrew here. What's up, Andrew? Great to see you. Tammy's here from Tucson, listening but working on my I can't even pronounce that. Oh wait, that's, yeah, project. And that's fantastic. Check 1 2 3, everything works, thank you. And nice. Andrew saying hi to Tammy, hope you're good, having a good Tuesday. And obviously check 1 2 3. So, you know, these coding streams, I don't really care if anybody watches them or not, because at the end of the day, the most important part is that, are you guys coding? Are you guys doing the work? And I'm just going to continue sticking with this Tuesday night live stream, because at the end of the day, when someone says I don't have a project for my portfolio, I'm like, look, I started this stream like a bunch of weeks ago. It's been like already more than 10 weeks, I think. And I've been putting some consistent time, and all of a sudden, look, I finished and built my project. So the point here is to show you that if you make a decision to work on something, you work on it over time, you guys going to get to where you need to go, and you guys going to have a nice portfolio project. So I was thinking about this portfolio project, and I was like, you know what, it'll be cool for my portfolio. And then I'm like, you know, Web Dev Junk asked me, would I ever consider building a SaaS project? I was like, you know what, this could be a good test to build a, you know, software as a service platform. It probably will fail, but who cares? You got to start somewhere. But anyway, talking about the project, let me just show you, kind of like go back into it here. And right now we're just literally focusing on functionality first, building basic prototype. And that's why here it, you know, maybe it doesn't look as impressive visually. I don't care, you know, because to me the most important like part about this is that the functionality works, the thing that I want to do, the login works, everything works. This is great. So in today's stream, we're going to explore how do we create a feature to be able to reset our password. And I'm sure you've seen, you know, websites like, let me go to, let's see, what website do I have that I could share as an example that I didn't make but actually exists? Let's go to Bluehost. So if you go to Bluehost and you go to login, right? And you're like, oh, I want to log in. And let's say you forgot your password, you don't know what it is. They have this amazing thing called forgot password. When you click on it, so the steps that and how it works, this is a great way to visualize that. Number one, you have on the front end a portion where you're able to, at least let me go back up again. On the front end, you have a screen which says you could log in, and you have a link to forget password. So step one is create the UI where you at least have that option. When someone hits forgot password, they'll be taken to a different page. Maybe it could be same page, but they're going to be taken to the page that's responsible handling that request for reset password. And the first thing they do is they ask for your email. In this case, they look you up by your domain name. In our case, you're going to use our email. Once you put whatever you done here, you click next, it's going to send you authorized reset link. What's going to happen, you're going to get a mail in your mailbox that's going to have a link, which is going to have either a key code that you have to enter yourself, or it's going to be provided in the URL when you click the link. And when you click it, it's going to take you back to your application where you're able to create your new password. And obviously, I'm not going to go through the steps in this process because I remember my password. I don't have to worry about it. And so this is what we're going to talk about. So quickly to review the steps, the first thing we need to know is the fact that we need to have forgot password link that takes us to a page which is going to allow us to provide our email so we could send it to our backend. In our backend, there's going to be some logic that happens that's going to set a reset link to your email. You'll be able to go to your email, click the reset password link. It's going to take you back to the site where you're able to enter that authorized link, and then you'll be able to add a new password to reset your password. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about. Now, for those of you who just starting out, like, and don't worry if the whole point of the show is like, if you have questions, ask. Don't worry about it. And by the way, thank you for all of you who already smashed the like button already. And if you haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button for you guys, for your awesome support. Because today we're going to talk about how to, at least start talking about how to do a form reset. Or I'm sorry, password reset. And so that's what we're going to talk about. First, let me go like see here, okay? Walter, what's up? Hi everyone. Serge here. Hi there everybody. And Tammy says very functional topic tonight. So I hope that we're going to make some progress. Now, you have to understand, and in our case, we're using Strapi because we're not, we're focusing more on our front end, and maybe you're not really strong in back end. I'm actually using Strapi to set up my backend. And Strapi allows you to quickly create an API literally in 2-3 minute steps. You just run this command, and again, I'm just kind of giving you the short version, and you'll be able to have a backend where you're able to make requests to. So I'll show you an example here, and I'm using GraphQL for this project, but I'm going to show you just an example of REST API, something that you guys are familiar with. So let me open a new browser window, go to the same link. For instance, this is Strapi deployed backend. We have this concept of projects. So if I want to get projects, I would hit this endpoint, and as you could see, I have projects showing up that are publicly available if you're not logged in. This is the same data as you could see here. You will see the project showing up in our kind of call to the API. And again, it's only one project currently here, but it is giving us back all this amazing data. But we have one project called Cocktail Recipe Finder, and this is what you see on the front end. If I go log in, we could add a new project. So that's what Strapi creates. It creates an amazing API. Now for us, we're going one step farther. We're using GraphQL. The beauty of GraphQL is that it allows you to use only one endpoint to get all the data you need. So you don't need to make multiple requests to the same API. Like for instance, if I want to get projects, I have to go to projects like I'm doing here. If I want to get likes, I have to go to likes to get all the likes, you see? And so this creates this kind of, each endpoint has its own item that it'll send back. So likes has an endpoint, projects have an endpoint, users have endpoints. We even have comments, right? Comments have an endpoint, right? And so if I want to get, let's say, a user and then get all their likes and comments, in most traditional REST APIs, I would have to make a bunch of requests to a bunch of different endpoints. So in my case, I'm using GraphQL, which allows me to basically write a query. So if I want to query something, instead of going to a bunch of different endpoints, I'm literally able to get the project. I'm going to say projects. And then I'm also able to see, let's see, what could I get? The data. I could get the name. I could get the description, and then I could also get the developer. I could get the developer here. I could get their name. Let's see, developer username, right? And then I could also get likes for this particular project ID. And so this is one request to one GraphQL endpoint. So where I had to use REST API and go to bunch of different endpoints like comments, likes, projects. That's like already 3 requests. GraphQL just allows you to make one request. Boom, I have that data, all the information I need. So we're using GraphQL from our standpoint, and we're going to use GraphQL to implement our email thing. Now, whenever you guys working with a backend, regardless if it's Node, I'm using Strapi, but Strapi is built on Express and Node. So the first place to start is to actually look up the stuff that you want to do. So you could Google, like, how do you implement password reset? How do you do that? And the thing that comes up a lot of times, if you're using Node, Google Node. And so I did that first just to kind of see what it is. And basically what they do is, just a quick example here, you're able to download a package, and there's a bunch of mail providers, and we will talk more about it later, but just understand that in order to send an email that's trusted, and this is just for example here, this is not the best provider to use, by the way, I just did it for testing purposes, but there's different providers, there's Node Mailer, there's a bunch of them, and we'll look at them in just a moment. but I just looked how does Node implement, because I know that in my code, whenever someone requests, okay, reset password, we're going to have to send an email. So I looked up in Node how to do this. You could go to Node Mailer npm and you could see all the documentation. And the reason why I'm showing you this in plain Node is because our Strapi application is going to use this integration behind the scene. And I already ran this code and sent an email. So you could see here I did, just to make sure it works, welcome to the stream, sent just now. And if you go to my email, somewhere I have email open right here. No, that's not it. Where's my email? My email, look, sent just now, welcome to the stream. So that's the email I sent. So I know that Node Mailer works. So now I'm able to move on to the next step. Now, if you never work with Strapi, don't worry about it. The big key takeaway here, whatever tech you're using, what you need to do is read the documentation. So I literally search email Strapi setup, and you'll get some documentation. Sometimes it's vague, sometimes it's not. And so here they show an example how in code you could send an email. Depending, the Strapi has its own email service that you could hook up to your provider. And this kind of shows you how you could set the email. I'm like an idiot, never share my screen. So I basically Googled Strapi send email. And then the point that I was trying to make is that it's very important for you guys, whenever you're working on something, don't be shy, read the documentation, make sure you guys are actively reading up on stuff. You know, and this is how you learn. You struggle, you learn. And so here we are on Strapi documentation, because like I said, our backend that you see here is powered by Strapi. Here is Strapi. And so currently we have email templates that come pre-built with Strapi, but nothing happens when you try to reset a password. And I'll show you here by example. When I log out, if I hit forget password and I do coding after 30, because this is not hooked up behind the scene, it says email sent. But if I go to my email, guys, there's no email. There is no email. It doesn't work. And so the reason why you need to read the documentation is, and sometimes even documentation is not clear enough. Look, I tried it. It should work, but it doesn't work. So sometimes when you're working with CMSs or other technologies that you try to incorporate, things don't just work out of the box, right? We need to make them work. And that's where you could save some time by reading documentation. So then it shows an example of programmatic usage. They show you can use different providers such as SendGrid. That's one of the providers. And then they'll show you like how you could override the template that we have, which I'll show in a moment. Don't worry about it. But then it shows you, okay, by default, Strapi uses local system sendmail, which is, by the way, not configured. And if you didn't know that, it would be, and they don't even say it here, by the way. Sendmail is not configured to make things work. You have to configure it. But then they show you, you know, this link here, provider list, and it doesn't matter if you're doing Node, if you're doing something else. If you're doing Node, you would have, you know, npm. So I'll show you a package that we're going to use. You're going to use Node Mailer, but they have it just for regular Node. Node Mailer npm. So if I Google that, like, look, bam, you have this package that I kind of showed you earlier. And so if you're using Node environment, you could use Node Mailer here. Because we're using Strapi, we're going to utilize Strapi provider with Node Mailer. So first thing basically you have to do, you have to read the documentation and to understand what are the steps you have to do to make this happen. What are the steps? So before I continue, I'm just going to do a quick review, say hello, and yeah, and sure, that's exactly why I do these live streams. Sometimes we might not even be building this thing with me, but the point is not to even build it yet, but to see and hear the production process is incredibly helpful. Gives exposure to other stuff I haven't come across yet and what those things are used for. And 100%, and this is why I do this live stream, is because I want to kind of show you what is it like to code like a real developer. You'll see me fail on screen. I don't even know if this is going to be a successful stream. I might fail, I might get stuck, and you get to see the process that I use to get unstuck. So with that being said, let me say hello to the rest of the people. Lucky, what's up? Salute to you, Paul. Salute to you, my friend. I know it's very early where you are. Jer Bugs, greeting everyone, greeting to you, and NCH, hello, well, hello. And in today's live stream, we're gonna at least get it started, because at work I was tasked of creating and writing the functionality to allow a user to reset their password when they forgot what it is. Hologram nunchucks. Hey, I just tried to click your name so it shows up on the bottom screen here. What's up? I hope you guys are doing good. And so I'm literally talking on the stream about exactly the things I'm doing at work. I'm not making some toy project. It might look like a toy right now because we just started, but I'm talking about things exactly that you would be responsible for if you were coding at your job. So in today's stream, I'd like to give a quick overview. We have our website. We have our website here, and you know, we're able to see the projects, right? We're able to see the projects if we log in, right? I'll log in quickly here. I should save my password so it's automatically. Once you logged in, you could, you know, leave comments, hello, whatever that works. You're able to go to the dashboard to add a project. You're able to log out. But let's imagine you logged out and you forgot your password. Right now, you have no feature to reset your password, and that's exactly what we're talking about it. And so let me go back again. I closed the window. Why did I? No, I didn't close the window. Here we go. So this is Bluehost, just to kind of talk about the steps. They have their sign up screen, and you know, you try signing in, you type a bunch of googly gop. It's telling you, you know, you click login. I don't know why it doesn't even throw an error. I know that, okay, finally it says login failed. So after a bunch of times, your login will fail, and you're like, okay, you need to have the ability to reset password, and this is exactly the feature we're doing. So on the front end, we need to add a link. We have to create a reset password page. We have to do all that stuff, and we're going to do it quick and dirty today to get it started, because we just want to get functionality. When you click forgot password, right? When you click forgot password, and in this case, Bluehost wants to know your domain name, because that's what they deal with domain names. But a lot of times, the way people will ask you for your email. So first step is take you to reset password page, where you type in your email or whatever. You click next. Once you click next, it's going to send an email to your email box, which I didn't do yet because we're going to implement it today. But you're going to get like some sort of email that's going to have a link for you to reset the password. That link also is going to have some sort of code that when you click it, it's going to take you back to the page where it's going to add some sort of code in the URL that you need to have to authorize a password reset. And if you have the code, and I'll show you this an example in terms of our application, how it works. When you have the code, you're able to set a new password. Type it twice to make sure it works, and when you hit next or save, it's going to save the password and say, great job, you changed your password. So first we're going to look at the implementation of it in regular REST API. So let me go here, Strapi, because we're using Strapi. And again, I'm coming back to this because making sure that you guys are, I think it's going to be put the code reset password into your role in my I'm just trying to figure out which one is this. Maybe let's try this one. So the idea is that we want to read the documentation when we're not sure what to do. So we already did the registration a while ago. We did our login. We did all this other stuff. So here we go. We go to forgot password, and good documentation. If there's a node implementation somewhere, there's going to be documentation. This is Strapi, there's going to be documentation. So forgot password, basically, if we were doing a traditional API, we're doing GraphQL, by the way, but we're going to go over traditional API. what we would do is we would make a post request, and what it requires is to provide the email and the endpoint that we have to hit. Our response would just be whatever, we sent you your email, go to your mailbox, open your mailbox, right? Once you go and get your email, you're going to have a link that's going to have a code. So then we create a password reset page, and if you guys have questions, let me know, I will answer them. Then when people hit the link on the email, they go back to that site and they will have the code that we will have to get from the URL, and then we're able to add our password, confirm our password, click enter, and boom, our password is changed. So that is the implementation that we're going to use. And we're using GraphQL. And believe it or not, GraphQL is amazing because it's self-documenting, so I don't even have to go to the documentation to look for it, but I'm going to just go to the documentation and to look for it anyway. Strapi GraphQL reset password. Maybe they don't even have it, I don't remember. Let's see here, the GraphQL forgot password mutation. Okay, they have, it's not working. It works. Relax here. I just want to go Strapi authentication. We just looked at this. Login, maybe there, like sometimes you'll read the documentation. This is the same page we were on, so I'm just scrolling, quickly breezing through, because we want to implement it in GraphQL. So they're not talking about GraphQL anything here. So sometimes like you gotta search more. So we know we're gonna be using GraphQL. So you know, I'm just gonna go to GraphQL. I know that's here, and then they show kind of how to set GraphQL up. We already did this, and again, the point, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just instead of using REST API, we're using Apollo client on the front end, and we just want to get the big picture of what we're doing right now. So let's see if they have reset password. And if they don't have reset password, which sometimes in documentation you might not get every little detail. And so the beauty of GraphQL, I'm going to show you in a second, because I don't see reset password here at all. By the way, if you're searching through stuff online and you're like, what is going on, you could do Control F, or in my case Command F, and I could say forgot password, and then there's nothing on forgot password. So anyway, it doesn't matter. We gave it a try. We gave our valiant effort. The good news, whenever using GraphQL, and when you have GraphQL installed in Strapi, so let me sign in here into my Strapi. So Strapi makes it very easy to set up GraphQL in the backend without a headache or hassle. If you try to write GraphQL from scratch without knowing NodeJS and being good at it, it's actually going to be really difficult. I think REST API with Node is easier to make than GraphQL, and in our case, we don't even have to worry about it because we have Strapi, which we downloaded from strapi.io. We went into plugins, we installed this GraphQL plugin, and what that gave us, it gave us this GraphQL playground. And so now, I already wrote a reset password mutation here, but you're like, well, how did you know how to do that? One of the beauties of GraphQL is it's self-documenting. Whenever, or somebody, if it might be you, it might be somebody else who wrote the backend with the GraphQL, everything, you know, in GraphQL you have queries, which is basically get the data, and then you have mutations, which could be delete, update, or edit. And it is self-documenting. So once you write the code, this will be automatically generated for you. So someone like me who wasn't able to find what I needed to find in the documentation, I'm actually able to see here. And look, we have forgot password and we have reset password. So we'll start with forgot password. And we see here, okay, forgot password requires an email, which is a string, and then it will return on success, okay, if that happened. So if I go to reset password here right now, this is exactly what I wrote here. And we basically, hold on, reset password test user, confirm. This is reset password. We were on the reset password first. So let me show you what we want to see. Oh wait, I already wrote here. We want to do forgot password first. So basically, just like I showed you in that REST API implementation, we're doing it in GraphQL, where we are going to write a mutation which will be fired whenever a user submits the form and says reset password. So the first thing we want to do is just get this to work. Get this to work. So right now, if I click play, it says bad request, internal server error, forgot password. This email doesn't exist. Let's see if I write the right email. So let me go in users here. let me see what users we have. So we have Coding After 30, we have this Gmail. So let's see if we could send an email to Coding After 30 the way things sit. So by the way, basically this is a placeholder that allows me to pass variables to my mutation. And so we're going to put Coding After 30. When I hit play, it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. And this was the biggest headache for me, because I was like, why doesn't it do anything? Why is it broken? Well, a lot of times whenever you're working with third-party CMSs or other projects or anything else that you do, is that a lot of this stuff is not implemented. And this is why it's important to read the documentation and to basically, make sure that you figure out how the thing that you try to do works. So let's go back to the comments. Let's see here. Walter Gonzalez, quick question. If anyone in chat cares to comment, what is the best way to store JW token in the front end? There's lots of great debates that happen. In my case, which is it the best option? For me, I'm storing it in local storage. Like, I want to make my application work first with all the features, and then I'll go back and refactor and do everything the way it's supposed to do. And Han, good morning. Dev Mentor Live, what's up? By the way, if you've never been to Dev Mentor Live's channel, go ahead, check him out. He's actually really good at programming. He knows what's up, and he also does one-on-ones, which are amazing. He knows his stuff 100%. And then he says his advice: I never store decrypted JW tokens on the client via server side cookies. If it's just an encrypted token, you can use local storage, or client cookie. I use LS. Exactly. If it's an encrypted token, you could use local storage, but a lot of times people will store it differently for security purposes. And a huge reason why I prefer REST is that GraphQL makes it much easier for hackers to find attack vectors in your app, since it is self-documenting. Something to keep in mind. And yeah, that's true, and I definitely got to look more into it. I still prefer, so the reason why I do GraphQL, by the way, is because I'm getting paid for it to do it at work, and so we're working with GraphQL, so I have to know GraphQL. But to anybody who's learning to code, regardless if you like REST, regardless if you like GraphQL, regardless if you like React, regardless if you like Next.js, you're gonna get a job, and they're gonna tell you what to do. I know 100%, that Dev Mentor Live has his preferred technologies, but I know that he had jobs where he worked on stuff that wasn't his preferred technology. And exactly like he says here, I read things too slow. Obviously, you should still learn GraphQL in case you need to use it for the job, and that's exactly the case here. And this is why Mark knows his stuff, because look, he says exactly what I thought he was going to say. So with that being said, this doesn't work. So now we have to figure out how to hook up. Yeah, 100%. Getting paid for it is the best argument to note. Listen, this is why I started with C#. So funny thing, I had to implement password reset with C# at my job, so I know how to do it with ASP.NET, and doing it with Node is different, and Strapi is different because you have all these different things. But the point is, whatever you're working with, and again, the reason I'm using Strapi, the reason why I'm using CMS, because I did not want to make the backend from scratch. What I want to do is create an implementation of the front end that works with Strapi, make sure that the front end works, all the things that I'm trying to accomplish work, and then I'm going to rewrite the backend with Node. Then I'm going to rewrite the backend with Node and GraphQL. And then at some point, believe it or not, I'm going to rewrite the backend with Python. People probably wondering, well, why are you going to rewrite the backend with Python? Because the job that I have here, some of the projects are done with Node, and a big majority of projects are done with Python. And like Mark said, the best argument for learning something to know is getting paid for it. So I'm going to be getting paid for learning Python, because that's something that I'm supposed to use at my job. But anyway, coming back here, so we right now have no ability to send emails. And so basically, coming back to the documentation, not sure where my documentation went. We don't need the quick start. We don't need to talk about REST. So basically, we want to select a provider that we want to use. So in our case, I already decided that I'm going to use Node Mailer to start, just so I could test. So they have this nice nifty place you call provider list. You open a link, and again, they already have packages that you could use to hook up some of the functionality. So we are going to use Node Mailer here. So basically I'm going to click on it, look at an npm, kind of, okay, they show the configuration that we want to set up. And so this is the first thing we're going to do. I'm just going to copy and paste and install email Node Mailer in our application. And by the way, here's my application. Notice I'm in a different branch called reset branch. And the reason why we're here is because I'm probably going to break something today. I'm probably going to make it break. It's probably not going to work. And that's probably why you guys watch the stream, because I break things more often than I fix them. And the good news, the live version that's already running on Community One project, like right here, the application that's running is not going to break because I not pushed the broken core to master. So anytime you do anything new or working on a separate feature, make sure you start a different branch. So I'm going to kill the server for now. I'm going to copy and paste npm and install Strapi provider, email, whatever it asks me to do. And so what that's going to do is going to install that package, but it's still not going to work because we need to configure it. And we saw the Node implementation here where they ask you to say the provider you're using, the options that you want to pass, you know, username and password is required, some default settings. So, and I showed you how I had this implementation in basic Node code. And again, I removed my password here, but this works. It's just a very simple way to send an email. Again, don't use Gmail. I'm using Gmail from the standpoint of I just want to make it work. Once this goes to production, I'm going to get the provider that our company uses on their other projects, but I just want to make sure that this implementation works. And so this is what we're going to use. So we saw the Node implementation, but then go back and read the documentation for Strapi, right? So I'm reading that documentation on Strapi here, and I'm reading it, whatever, and we get, oh, okay, so once you install the plugin, whatever it is, they're showing example for SendGrid, they're saying make sure you configure your provider, and what you need to do is you need to create a folder in, not a folder, but file called plugin.js in your config folder. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my project, and I already have a config/plugin already created, because in this particular project to upload files I'm using Cloudinary. Notice again, I want to keep this stuff secret, so I have it in a .env file that I'm not going to show you because it's secret to me and you guys shouldn't have it. So you should probably never commit your .env file to GitHub. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add that basic example that we saw for our whatchamacallit configuration. So I'm adding my configurations for the email. I'm providing the options. We need service. I'm using Gmail. I already set up a Gmail user with the password that allows me to send emails from Gmail programmatically. And this obviously has who is it from, who is it to. So now I am going to go back, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the Strapi instance, run it, make sure everything works after downloading stuff. We're gonna go back here to our Strapi. I'm going to refresh it, make sure it doesn't break. And now when we go to settings, let's see, advanced settings, email templates, providers. Let's see if I did this right. Email roles. So something doesn't look right here. I don't see the, let's see here, because if you go into roles, providers, email template, let's go to advanced settings. So we're missing some stuff here. We're missing a bunch of stuff. So sometimes with Strapi, what I think you have to do, if you're changing stuff that's going to change stuff in the UI, you actually have to run npm run build to rebuild the UI. And maybe it's going to call me a liar, and maybe I'm already falling into my first mistake, but you know, we'll get there when we get there, one step at a time. And just like that mentor says, every language has something to teach you about general programming. And 100% true. Look, if you wanted to be a programmer, please understand there are no shortcuts. You literally have to learn how to do stuff. This journey was really hard for me. I am still at the beginning of my journey. Dev Mentor's been on this journey since 1990, and he's still learning a lot of stuff. And so doesn't matter when you start on your journey, like, you're gonna be learning stuff. So please think that if you feel that this is an easy way to make money, you are mistaken, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to be able to stick with it long enough to make a difference. And first thing, I'm going to double check, did I install the correct package JSON file? So we have NodeMailer installed. That's good. Now I'm going to go and we rebuild it. So I'm going to run npm run develop. What's up, Welly codes? Very bad pronouncing W's. By the way, I love like hearing you whenever you hang out with Coding Phase. If you're ever interested coming on the stream, let me know. Like, I would love to chat with you. You definitely seem like a cool person. I'm sure you are a cool person. But anyway, so let's see if that did anything. I'm gonna go back to my code, refresh it. So now we have email settings. So boom, that fixed the problem. We fixed it, and I'll answer that question in just a second. I'm just kind of want to finish this thought here because we just did a bunch of stuff, and I want to make sure it works. And so boom, here we go. Yes, so notice how we implemented our configuration in config.plugin in our code. Here is our plugin. We added this bit of code. Where did we find all this? Baby, you know where you find this stuff. You go read the goddamn documentation. This is not it, but we're using Strapi. So I looked up email with Strapi, talked about some gotchas, how certain things they just don't talk about, and how for me, it didn't really specify that you need to configure this for this to work, and it did not work. Yeah, and well, it'll be amazing to have you, man. Like, you could send me an email at coding after 30. And I think you're on Twitter. I don't remember. I'm so bad on Twitter. Let's hook up on Twitter or send me an email. We'll definitely schedule something. I'd love to have you. I think this will be fantastic. It'll be a lot of fun. And I'll answer your question in just a second and say hello to people that just jump in. I just want to finish this train of thought. We've read, how to configure. You basically have to create a plugin.js file, and you want to configure your email. They're using SendGrid. In our case, we use NodeMailer, and this is what you see here. We added this configuration. We rebuilt our app. We reran our app, and we basically now at least implemented some sort of way to send emails from our backend. So we're going to do a test email. So before we could actually do anything on the front end, we're going to do a couple tests. So we set this up. This is going to be sent from testingcodingafter30@gmail.com. It's going to be using NodeMailer. I'm going to send it to codingafter30@gmail.com to make sure it works. I hit test email. Fingers crossed. Did it do anything? It says send the test email. I'm not sure if it did anything. Let's see if we have any errors in the console. Let's see, email permission, email test. So I'm not sure if it sent it. Let me take a look in my mailbox, Google, Gmail, inbox, and boom, here we go. We know that we now connected the functionality in our backend to allow us to at least have the email functionality that comes with Strapi. We set it up with NodeMail, and we're using Gmail, which is not a good strategy, but I'm using for purpose of testing, and it says, great, you have correctly configured Strapi email plugin with NodeMailer provider. For documentation on how to use email plugin, check out blah, 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 blah. So we have basically the same documentation that we read, and then basically tells you, once everything's set up, you're going to, okay, we already talked about it, but just trust me on this. Actually, I'll do it here. I'll search it. Forgot password, just to kind of review because it's important. So we got the mail working. Jesus Christ. So now what we need to do in our, no, this is not the one I was, is it the one I was looking for? Forgot password. Forgot password. Can't email. admin panel, and forgot password, authentication rules, forgot and reset password. Here you go. So here are the steps that now we have to do. We know that the email works. Now we need to basically create a page for a forgot password page. User enters their email address. The forgot password page sends a request to the backend email with a reset password link to the user. The user will receive an email, which we're about to test the functionality if that works. The link will redirect us to reset password page that we have to build, and the user enters their whole new password with the code that we require, and then the rest, reset password page sends a request, and boom, our hands are clean, we're done. Easier than said and done, so we're gonna struggle through it. And again, on the front end, we're gonna be using GraphQL, but I'll show you this REST API example. On your reset password page, you just need to provide an email and the endpoint. Once that happens, they will be redirected to your reset password page where you need to provide the code that Strapi generates and sends back via the link, your password confirmation, and boom, everything's said and done. Works great, and we'll come back to that in a second, but first let me answer some questions here. Okay. And Lucky asks, how do you stay consistent with programming? The same way I stay consistent with jogging is that I do a little bit every day. So I started going back into jogging, by the way, recently, because I haven't been consistent with jogging, but I've been consistent with coding. And so do a little bit every day, and just get consistent that every day you're doing something like in front of on your keyboard. Your keyboard has to be going click, 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 click. It's got to be making noises, right? If your keyboard's not making noises, you're not coding. You know what I'm saying? So you got to just stay consistent by doing a little bit every day in front of your computer inside VS Code. Love from Canada, I believe. Yes, I can't see. I need glasses. I lost my glasses and nowhere else. But man, great to see you. Thank you for joining us here. And yeah, Wally, of course, it'll be amazing. By giving us your money if you don't. Lol. Yeah, exactly. That's a good strategy. So my fiance and I gained a little bit of weight because I started doing programming. So I no longer do MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like I used to. So I gained a few pounds. And she's like, Paul, for every day that you're not losing weight, you have to pay me $10. That's ridiculous, because in 30 days, that's $300, you know? And that's amazing. Yep, and exactly. Just have to commit to yourself that for me, everyone's different, but blah, 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 100%. Focus while coding for the post few weeks, not just sure what to do. And if you're not sure what to do, confidence and focus while, I have lack of confidence all the time, and I just think about doing something simple. I'll just go like, so to answer your question, a lot of times when I'm not sure what to do, like I'll literally mess around in CodePen. So I'll show you what I recently did. I was in CodePen, I didn't know what to do, so I was like, okay, let me like create an about us section, you know? And so what I did is, here's my CodePen, and so whenever I don't know what to do, I'll randomly find a website. So I found some website that had this about section, looked like this, and I was like, well, how did they did it? I wonder if I could make it. So I recreated with style components, because style components are awesome. I don't care what haters say. And with React. And so I created this as components where you pass props. It'll show and change the colors, or it'll have the image on the left or the right. So you do something simple. And if this is too complex, you do something even more simpler than that. And that's it, basically. And dude, where have you been, man? I don't know. I've been struggling teaching the deep shit. I don't know if I'm teaching the deep shit. Like, there's way better instructors than I am. The only thing I'm doing, like Mark from DevMentor Live, he's an amazing instructor. When I have more time and a little bit more money saved up, I'm definitely going to hit him up again and do some one-on-ones. Helped me in the past, like, intensely. But the point is that I'm just talking about my journey and about mistakes that I'm doing, and the approach that I'm taking in terms of like kind of what should we build is basically I'm thinking, what kind of things am I solving at work? So let me talk about those things on the stream, so you guys actually build some functional stuff instead of building a fucking, excuse me, I didn't mean to swear, I'm just so passionate about it, Twitter clone for the 13 billionth time. Like, how many Twitter clones are you guys going to build? And I get it, like, and by the way, like, if you make a Twitter clone, which is you wrote and implemented, you know, sockets and, you know, live chat by yourself, yeah, that's phenomenal. But at that point, don't say it's a Twitter clone. Just create your own like chat app. You know what I'm saying?
This is actually somebody, Jack Harrington recommended that that's actually a great project for you to do. And after he recommended that, I was like, yeah, that's a great idea because I know nothing about GraphQL subscribers. And so when I implemented chat in my application here, it's actually not real chat. And this is why I call it comments, because this is asynchronous, right? Just because I type something here doesn't mean that it's automatically going to refresh on somebody else's screen, like in like Miami or something, right? They have to like log in and refresh their screen themselves. It's not like real-time chat. So one of the things to do, I want to eventually redo this chat feature and make it actually live chat. But for now, I'm not worried. I'm able to leave comments. People are able to get comments. I know with GraphQL, I could do a polling where every 30 seconds it reruns the query, so kind of will fake it. But then they also have GraphQL subscribers that I know nothing about, but I know that that will solve my problem to work with sockets and make a real live chat. But that's not a problem right now. Right now, the problem we're trying to solve is how we reset our email, and we're going to get to it. 100% that you can make money with a lot of other things. Do something that you wake up and can't wait to do, at least in the beginning. And this is kind of why I still code. Like, I've done jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu, by the way, was my dream job, but I did it for like 20 years. I banged up my body, and I'm not as passionate about teaching jiu-jitsu as I am doing coding. It's so fresh, so new. I love it. And by the way, with the pandemic, I would never be able to teach jiu-jitsu. I would actually lose my business, because especially there was a period of like 6 months where all the gyms were closed. So this is amazing. And Mark, great. Thanks for jumping on. Have a great night. And everybody, thank you, Mark, for jumping in. Nice. You've been learning React. Fantastic. And I mostly work with React. By the way, you know, every night, Tuesday night stream, this is what we do. Yeah, well, listen, that's a good problem to have, trying to gain weight. Nice, amazing. Started to learn JS from Coding Phase. Coding Phase has a lot of great content. And listen, guys, there's so many great YouTubers out there. People don't have to watch my show. People don't have to watch Coding Phase. People don't have to watch. You watch whoever you feel you kind of vibe with, and you're like, wow, he's a cool person, she's a cool person, I love what they're putting down, because it makes me motivated to actually code. So whenever you find someone who motivates you to actually do the work, follow that person, because if you're coding, building cool projects, you're going to get a job. And thanking Mark, yep. How do you implement React in CodePen? And no, I'm not Canadian, I'm Russian. I'm from Russia, but I've been in America for over 30 years now, so I'm practically, well, 31 years now. I'm practically American, but I'm Russian. I love Canada. I've been to Montreal, Quebec, Toronto. I love Quebec a lot, and Montreal is fantastic too. But once my fiance gets down here, we want to go visit Canada. Let me know where you live. But it does get cold during the winters there. I'm just going to say that. So what I do is basically, whenever you want to implement React, I just throw these links. And by the way, here, I'll share this link with you guys in the chat. You guys could clone it if you want to implement style components and React in your CodePen. So I just import React, React DOM, and style components from these links. Boom, it just works. So that's amazing. I realize I'm not sharing my screen like a complete moron again. So CodePen in React, let me repeat myself again, is I just basically, boom, import it here from these CDN links, and it just works amazingly. And then I also like to use, and I put the link in the chat if you guys just want to clone this About Us page and see it. And for HTML, I just put this script in there to get font awesome, so I could have some cool icons. And then whenever I want to build something quick and dirty with React, I do it here. Like basically that's it. Toronto, nice. That's awesome. I've never been to Toronto. Definitely a place to go. Did I say I've been to Toronto? I always get Toronto confused with what's that other big one city? Montreal, Quebec, Toronto, Ontario. I'm bad with Canada. One of the places I've been. Which is the place that has that building with the saucer on it? That's where I went, if that makes sense. Nice. And so, okay, let's get back to the project at hand. So, like, I don't want to review what we do, like review the same thing again, but I'm just gonna quick refresher. We basically we connected our backend to be able to send an email. So now we need to implement this from our front end. So this is our front end application. We have to, let me log out here or log in. We need to implement reset password here. So let's add our reset password page here. But even before I do that, I'd like to test the functionality that it works. So what I want to do is in GraphQL, because I am going to have to utilize this query, and we already tested it, but it will work. But if I click play, it says forgot password true. It sent me an email to coding after 30. Let me go to my email and check that that baby actually came through. So boom, it came through. So now you see we hear that you lost your password. Sorry about that, but don't worry. You use the following link to reset. And notice how it provides this link with the code that we need. Something's broken about this. We'll figure out later. It's missing the link part. I think I didn't set that up, but we'll get there when we'll get there. Yeah, yeah, CN Tower. That's exactly what is that. Yeah, that's 100%. So that's the thing I was referring to. I didn't go up on it, but I was like, man, that'll be cool to like do that one day. So all right. So now that we know that we're getting the email, let's do some front-end coding. And like I said before, let me go to my front-end application. So I already have a login form. And whenever you're working on a new feature, just notice here that I already opened a new branch called forgot password, and that's the branch I'm working on. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create a page called new page, new file. We're going to call it, I don't know, forgot password makes sense. Forgot password .jsx. And then we're going to make a simple component here using our nifty shortcuts called forgot password. And just to test this out, we're going to say, what's up? If you're older, you remember that Budweiser was up commercial. You get forgot password. Thank you, my trusty AI helper here. And then what we're going to do once we have this, we have to figure out where to put this forgot password page. Like, where do we put it? Well, in React, whenever you create an application, you will have like your root kind of folder, your app.js, and you would use something like routes. So we're using routes to point to where we want to go. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a new route that's going to point to our forgot password page. And then what we want to do, we want to reference that component. And back in the day, you had to pass it as a render prop if you wanted to have access to the props. But now with router 6, I believe, we don't want to pass login, we want to pass forgot password. Nice. And so in theory now, in our login page, we need to create a login password link. Then when we click it, it's going to take us to the page. But just to test that we're mentally not crazy, let's see if that's created here. So I'm just going to literally type here, forgot password. And boom, forgot password. We know our component works. This is where we're going to put our logic. And by the way, if you haven't smashed the like button for you amazing people on the stream, go ahead and do so, because I love you guys. I don't care if you like the stream for me, but I wish I had a like button for you guys to smash the like button to kind of show my love to all of you people in the world, that I wish that all the best things happen to you. So with that being said, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. So over here, know that our component works. And if you're ever struggling, like you know, what did that Paul do? I have no idea how he do it. And so I don't have a tutorial, but it's a great question. Do you have a tutorial on routes? Because their documentation is pretty clear. Damn, I'm clicking it. I'm like, is this? So you literally just go React router, and it's going to basically, you hit web, and it's going to show you exactly how to install it, how to implement it. So notice how they have, this is, I'm just going to copy and paste this because I'm going to use it in a second, but notice how they show you, you have your routes that route to the pages you want to see. This is kind of exactly what we have in the code. code here. You see routes, same exactly as the example in the documentation. And the way you get to your routes is you fire a link. So I'm actually going to incorporate this link in our login page. So if you go to login, let's add a link here for forgot password. And we'll style it later. Right now, let's get it to work. First thing I do first is get things working. Then I worry about styling. And I'm going to restyle this application once it's closer to being completed. Let me just close this window because it's annoying. I don't no longer have to use this one. Okay, so we're here. Let's go to our front-end application. We know our forgot password component works. Let's go to our login here. We'll go to a login form. And then on the login form here, let's just add a span here. Let's do text muted because that makes it look like it's not like super, I don't know what, it makes it look gray. Gray. That's a good suggestion. And then here we're going to add our link that's going to say, and I don't know if that styling is going to apply to that link. That's annoying, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. Right now, I just want it to work. Forgot password. We're just going to click here. It's probably not going to pass the styling, but we'll fix that later. And then we want this link to send us to forgot password. And this is something that's provided for us with React Router. So let's implement it here and then get it from React Router. Let's call it link. And basically what this should do, and I might be crazy if it doesn't, this should basically add that forgot password link to our page. So let's, okay, what is going on? Link is not exported from, get the hell out of here. What are you talking about? It's not exported. Link is not exported from React Router. What the hell? What do you think it comes from? Link, React Router. Don't tell me this has got to be React Router DOM. Like, I'm going to be upset. But that might be the case. Yeah, it was the case. So, yeah, look, it's there. It's ugly. I know. You don't have to tell me it's ugly. But we want it to work. Does it work? Boom. Boom. That forgot password link via our React Router and link took us home. Now, because I don't want it to look so ugly, we could style it. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I wonder if I throw the class on it directly, if the style is going to work. Styling the links with React Router, it's interesting. There's actually a little trick, and I believe I might have done it in my navigation here. I'm just going to do a little detour here, top navigation. So no, this is something different. Don't worry about it. We're going to figure it out. Let's go back to our login form. I'm going to just do a quick attempt because I want it to show up better. I'm going to throw this class onto the link directly to see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm not going to cry about it because the CSS for us right now is not the most important. So it kind of worked. It's forgot password. It's muted. And the reason I'm able to do this, by the way, guys, because I'm using Bootstrap. Let's see. What is it? Text color. Text. Let's do danger. What color is that? Did that work? Okay, it doesn't work. It's fine. I know we have to be specific with the selectors, so I'm going to style later. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But here we go. We have a link with forgot password. We know that when we click forgot password, and I'll move it later, we go to the forgot password page. Now we have to create a form that allows us to get the email that allows us to fire the code that we want to fire that will send us an email. And we're going to work on that next. But before we do that, we're going to look at the comments because I love you guys. Do I have tutorials on routes? I already shared the routes documentation. Yeah, link that blah, blah, blah. Coding after 30. Luke, amazing. Great to see you. Always smash the like button for all of us. Blah, nice. Fantastic. I got stuck on CSS things today. Was frustrating. Yeah, CSS is frustrating. Just as you saw me, I just got frustrated trying to do one simple thing that was messed up that I couldn't fix. And smash that like button. By the way, Luke, using after feature needed to pull background image repeating linear gradient tag. This already sounds complicated, but it would not stay contained to the div, just filled up to the entire screen. So you might have to do a, and I'm not sure if you used for the after, I'm assuming that's where you were doing that magic. In the after, you would do position set to absolute, and then the parent should be position relative. But look into position relative and absolute. That might be where the answer is. Damn right, we're style masters. Came from the DOM. Text light. Yeah, I should try text light. You know, I don't really like Bootstrap. The only reason I like writing CSS from scratch. The reason why I'm using Bootstrap is because I just don't want to waste time working on CSS, because I want the functionality to work, and that's what we're getting to. So let's go to our, thank you, my man. That looks way better. Text light representing the house. So we got text light here. We click forgot password. We go here. So we're going to do what best developers always do. By the way, you didn't see the screen. We were recommended to use text light as a class from Bootstrap. Boom, forgot password. Now you can see it. You click it, takes us to where we need to go. Now we make this form. So the best way that I could tell you guys, you know, whenever you're coding, especially on your own one-man show, the best way to create a form, what do you guys think? Login form. So we have login form here. The best way to create a form is literally copy and paste it, I guess. I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to make a new component called new file, new folder, reset form, reset password. Actually, it's not reset, it's forgot, because this is, you didn't forgot password form. And inside this folder, we're going to make our forgot password form file, new file, forgot. Am I using capitals? I don't remember. I got to keep it consistent. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. I'm using little ones. Inside the folder, I'm doing normal naming. Forgot password form. And then we do JSX because we're fancy like that. And now we're just going to copy and paste it here. So basically, I copy and paste a bunch of stuff. If you don't know what it is, I don't know what. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go over this. I'm going to delete a lot of this. I just wanted to paste some stuff just so. Hey, Wally, great seeing you. Definitely got to set up a live together. But I'm always glad to see you whenever you jump in. Always great to have cool people. So thank you for joining us. Calling it a night. Good night, everyone. Good night, my man. See you later. And so here we are. Let's go back to our application. Forgot password. Reset it. And it's not working. Why is it not working? Because we did not import our new component called forgot password reset to our component. So let's go to our code. And this is our backend code. We don't need to worry about it right now because we're done with it. I'm going to move it here. So let's go to our forgot password. And what we need to do here now, we need to import our component that's called forgot password reset. It's not going to work right now, and I'll show you why. It's because I didn't rename it to forgot password when I copy and paste. I guess sometimes I call it forgot password form. Forgot password form. That's what I called it. And the reason why it's not going to work, because in this forgot password form, I didn't change the name. So where's our right here. Login form. No, it's forgot password form. I called it forgot password form. So forgot password form, we export from here. We import it in our forgot password here. Let's import forgot password form. And now this should work. So now we're going to get Oh, the styling is garbage. Why is the styling so garbage? Why is it? Because I didn't copy and paste everything. So this lives in our login page. And again, I'm copying and pasting because the point is for copying and pasting is because I just want to make this stuff go quick and we don't want to worry about CSS. So let me add these cool classes to our forgot password form. And this is why I like using Bootstrap for prototyping, because you're just able to throw stuff together and it just works. So this is our forgot password thing. So we don't need the password. We don't need the forgot password. And let's rename this. So what I'm going to do here is to go back to my forgot password form, go to the definition. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start here. This mutation we don't need. We're not going to use this. For our initial state, since we only have one item for email, we could just not worry about it, and we could say, and it's not going to be user. No, that's for something else. We don't need user in this case either. Login mutation we don't need because we're going to write our own. So input, this is going to be more specific to email, and set email because that's the only thing we're going to have here. And for now, email is going to be set to an empty string. Handle input change because we only have one item that we're going to have to change. We're just going to do it inline. We're not going to worry about it. Then we're going to release this. We don't need it. And we're basically going to do a very easy check. If email is blank, right? If email is blank, if email is not blank, let's submit our form. And for now, I'm going to remove this because we're going to rewrite this from scratch. And I'm just going to say alert, email sent to email. Okay, this is what's going to show up to us in the alert. This we're going to talk about in a second. For now, I'm going to leave this here. Redirect. We're going to handle it to redirect back to login page. And I just, nope, it's not going to be this redirect. I'm going to delete that because we're not logging in right now. We're basically going to, we'll take one step at a time. I'm trying to do too many things at once. Let me slow down. So we need loading, we need error. Then we need the email. By the way, if you want something to use the HTML kind of input validation, just type required flag. And so it's not going to let us submit the form if this doesn't work. And for handle change, we are going to just put a inline function here, and I have amazing autocorrect, but we're going to pass the event. We're going to get eTarget.value, which is going to give us the value of this input, and we're going to set it into state using set email state. Okay, so that's good. Value is input. Right now, we don't have any error handling. We'll worry about that later. We need a button. The button should be submit. Forgot password we don't need, and boom, our form is done. So we're going to quickly review what we have in just a second, and let me erase stuff that we don't need here. This I'm going to save because we're going to come back to it. It's going to complain because we need loading, so I'm going to const loading. I'm just going to fake it for now, and const error, just so my code editor doesn't give me an error. Error equals null. Beautiful. So now this works. So basically, we created our form where you're able to come in. If you don't know your password, it's gonna complain. You can't log in. I gotta fix that. Instead of R, I should probably put a validate like thing that says something went wrong instead of like R. But I think R looks pretty cool. But let's say you don't know your password. We implemented our forgot password. We already hooked up our backend. So now when we add our email here, if it's wrong because we used that require field, it's going to complain. Please include A in all email addresses. This is just HTML validation that's specific to input fields. And so now I'm going to add paul.bratslavsky@gmail.com. Please don't email me here. And boom, email sent to Paul Brosovsky. But did that really send the email? Let me like look at the chat here, and then we're gonna come back and talk about that. No, it did not send the email because we just handled the front-end UI, but we didn't write any logic on the front end to talk to our backend, which we'll do in a few minutes. And I think for this stream, we just get to a point where we could actually send an email, and then the following stream will do the rest of the part here. So let's see here. Tammy says, I hate Bootstrap. I come from a long time vanilla CSS. Bootstrap fights what I want to do. I'm thinking either Materialize CSS or Tailwind CSS if you have to use a framework for quick setup. Like, I personally would prefer, if you want to do like quick, like MVP, you could use Material CSS. It's not that hard to do. Like, I use Bootstrap just because everybody else, like when you get a job, most likely some companies will use Bootstrap over Material. So like I use Bootstrap for quick prototyping. But like I said, when I'm gonna redo this application, I'm gonna rewrite all the CSS myself using style components. I just don't want to worry about the styling right now. I want to work on functionality first once the app works, because users are not gonna use CSS. Like, CSS is not gonna make them log in, right? So I want to make sure that all the functionality works. Tailwind is great. I don't like it because like there's a specific way I write it. I learned from Mark DevMethod Live, where he will take all the Tailwind class names and he's gonna put them in a different CSS modules file. So whenever you write your JSX, you're not literally pulling the Tailwind classes, but you're just pointing to that CSS module, and that way you could easily remove Tailwind if you wanted to, and you're not tying yourself down to Tailwind, because Tailwind, you will write class names with 30 class names and it looks ugly and stupid. I like how it looks. I like their philosophy behind it. But when I write Tailwind, and next time I'll show you how I do it, there's a very specific way I do it. Otherwise, I would never use Tailwind. But anyway, so we know, let's see here. The difference between those two, that's a great question. They both basically do the same thing. It's a CSS framework that allows you to quickly write your CSS. I guess the difference would be, I forgot what's the name for it, but Tailwind really takes this approach that every class is like a, what do you call it? Not modular, I forgot what it's called, but basically every class does something, and so instead of writing CSS, like, you just put the classes that you want to get the look that you want. I know I'm not explaining it well, but it basically, I forgot what it's called in CSS. CSS, when a class name has multiple use, like you have center class, you have like helper classes, but there's another word for it. I forgot what, it doesn't matter. Yep, 100% export and import your components. If you think Bootstrap has a million classes, Tailwind has like a bajillion, million, trillion classes. I'm not even kidding you. I use Tailwind. I love how it looks. I even have like their paid Tailwind. Looks beautiful, but I am not writing it the way they recommend. I am making sure I'm using CSS modules and I'm using the classes inside the CSS files, because I don't want my JSX look like crap. And I could show you an example here since you guys asked. Give me a second. So, by the way, you don't have to purchase Tailwind subscription. It's free. You could do a lot of stuff. I bought their business thing a while ago. Tailwind CSS. So you guys getting started. Components. So I bought this. It's very expensive. Don't buy it. You could recreate this yourself, but I'm going to show you by an example here. So let's look at this. Let's look at the code. No, not in React. Let's do HTML. Look at this ugliness. I mean, this is not that bad, but there literally could be times like this actually looks clean. I'm not going to lie, but to me, even this look at this. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. This is ugly to me. So what I do is I would, instead of doing this, I would remove this and put these classes inside a different CSS module folder file. and then I would just point to that CSS module class. So that way it will inherit all the styling. And I'll show that later in some example. But yeah, to me, I don't like it, like the fact that it's written like this. And this is actually a cleaner example. But anyway, I love Tailwind. I just don't like the way how you write classes like this all the time. I guess everything that you use has its drawbacks and their favorites. Tailwind looks beautiful, by the way. Like, I mean, look how beautiful this looks. This is nice, clean, beautiful, works, responsive, but whatever. Let's not talk about this. Let's finish up what we're doing. Let's finish up what we're doing. A little off topic. What is the lo-fi playlist or channel you're listening to? Great question. Let me look it up quickly. So I'm on Spotify. There's this channel called Stream Beats. Just go on Spotify, type Stream Beats, or even on YouTube, I think they have it, Stream Beats. So it's copyright free, so I'm able to use it on my live streams and not get in trouble. Yeah, but it's Stream Beats. Boom, right there. Stream Beats on Spotify. We solved that mystery. Now back to, let's see, any more comments? Here's suppose from the Tailwind side that made me think it's easier to use a Bootstrap. They're about the same, I would say. Like I would start with Bootstrap first, blah, 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 blah. And Tailwind is effing great. And I don't like it in code, but I love how it looks. I mean, I love Tailwind. And I like Bootstrap. I like writing my own CSS. I like everything. HG Global, hi, nice to see you. Like blah blah. Yeah, I'm really new to React.js. I'm never caught in tutorial. I am never caught in tutorial trade. I have pivoted in my early 30s to computer science. Fantastic. And early 30s is amazing because that's a great start. I got my first job at 39. 39. And just keep doing what you're doing, my man, because you're starting like early 30s. You're going to get there. I got my job at 39. It is hard, but it's possible. Just build stuff from scratch. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not the source. Not the source in CSS frameworks. As I said, I learned CSS from scratch, much faster for me. Like, thank you, any blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's get back. Let's finish this up before I fall asleep. The challenge is going to be like, can I finish this up before falling asleep? So basically, our front end is hooked up. Everything works. We know that we're getting the email that we want. So now we need to implement our mutation. So what I'm going to do, because I already showed you earlier in our GraphQL playground, we tested this mutation already. We already tested it. If you're jumping on the stream late, just trust us. We tested it. I showed you how to set up everything. It works. So now we go back. We're going to paste our mutation that we already tested it. To use it, we need to put it in const forgot password AI. You're supposed to be smarter than that. Forgot mutation equals GQL, and then we'll wrap it like so in those doohickeys, string literals, string whatever. Perfect. So we have our mutation. Now we need to call our mutation. People, Paul, you're so smart. How do you know how to use mutations? I don't know. How do I know? I'm smarter than you, I guess. No, that's not how. I go use mutation. Apollo. I just look at the documentations, guys. Brilliant, right? Apollo client. I mean, after doing this bajillion times, I already know how to do it. But let's look at mutations clients and Apollo. They show you an example here. Basically, you use mutation hook. You pass in your mutation. We're going to put our variables in here that we need to refer because we're passing our email in here, right? And then we give our mutation a name. Actually, I'm just gonna copy and paste this. Why not? Go back to our code and let's talk about it. So here I'm going to basically do whatever they said in documentation. Instead of calling mutation function, I'm gonna call it reset. No, this is forgot password mutation. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to get back data, loading, error if there's an error. And then here we have to pass our mutation that we wrote. And the second argument, right now, if I fire this, it's going to complain because it doesn't know what email is. So we need to pass email via variables. So this is what the second argument here. It allows you to variables, and we need to pass email here. So we passing email. The final thing we need to do, now we could remove this because we now have access to error loading, and data is going to be what's going to be returned to us. And so what I'm going to do here is basically create here, if we have data, right? If there's data, email sent to the email, and then we're going to make this redirect to another screen, but for now this is where we're going to keep it, just to finish the first part. So now here, instead of this console log that we did, we're going to actually call our forgot password mutation. And in theory, and by the way, we're passing forgot mutation here with the email here. If you guys ever see it passed, damn it, copy, passed in here, that works too, but we're just gonna keep it consistent, call it from here. So now, moment of truth. So let's kind of go over this code first, and then we'll do the final review, and we'll go from there. So currently we wrote a mutation that we already tested. This will basically trigger an email to be sent to us. We will deal with the email. We will deal with that afterwards because we have to change the template. We're not going to worry about it. We just want to make sure, can I get an email once I complete the reset password or forgot password link? We are storing email in state. We are setting the state on change. Whenever we submit the form, it's going to check if email is blank. If it is, it's going to say, please complete all the fields. It's actually, please fill in your email. And if there is email, it's going to fire this mutation. Now, one thing we're not doing, we're not handling an error if the email doesn't exist. We'll do it next time. But for now, we're just going to do best case scenario. And whenever we get back the data, which is going to return us, okay, email has been sent, is going to render this message, email sent to this email. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my Gmail, just so you're not confused. I'm going to go to the inbox. No, Wally Code, nice, he sent the thing. I'm going to delete these where I tested stuff before. So I'm going to delete it. And so now, delete. Oh, shoot. Delete this button. So now what I'm going to do is, whenever, like, we should see the email show up here. That's the long short story of the longest shorter story ever. So let's do this, guys, because I want to make sure that we accomplish something on the stream before we end, and also so I could chat with you guys. So we're not going to test it from the back end because we just implemented those features in the front end. So let's go home. I am a user. I need to like. I can't like. I need to enter my name and email. I don't remember my name and email. Oh, today on the stream, we created forgot password. Okay, we hit forgot password. Let's enter coding after 30 at gmail.com. This is probably not going to work, so fingers crossed to everybody. If you haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button before I fail, not after. Click submit. Email sent to codingafter30 at gmail. That's a good sign. We will handle the redirect. We will handle the second step. This is not something you accomplish in one day. It usually it takes like 3-4 days to finish it, to do it the right way. And so now the moment of truth. We go to Gmail, inbox, refresh, administration, reset password from test coding after 30. We heard that you lost your password. Sorry about that. I'm not really sorry, but whatever. But don't worry, you can use this following link to reset the password. Click this link. We got to fix this link right now. It doesn't work. We'll handle this in the next stream. But let's just review what we have accomplished so far. So that works. We are on first step. So normally, let's kind of go back to our other website here. Let me close a bunch of windows here, no worries. So let's go to Bluehost. So basically, what did we accomplish? Besides setting up the backend functionality to hook up Node Mail, and if you missed it, just watch the beginning of the stream. I talk about how we did it. But just in general, whenever you go to a website and you want to log in, and you don't know your password, you want to be able to reset it. So when you click forgot password, normally what they do is they ask for your email. In this case, they ask you for your domain name. If your email exists in the database, they're going to send an email with an authorized reset link. Authorized reset link, like we kind of getting in our Gmail. And when you click on this authorized email link, it's going to take you to a create new password page, which we didn't create, which we'll do eventually. Once there, you'll be able to reset your password and save everything. So we basically got the first step to work, where we're able to send a reset password to our client. So I'm very happy with that. That works. What was the work that we had to do on the back end? On the back end, we're using Strapi, and once you know how to do it, it's fairly simple. But the issue is I didn't know how to do this at first, so that was definitely a bunch of looking up and doing stuff. So here, by the way, I do volunteer some free coaching. If you guys want in, I'm literally going to do it to 2 hours a week because I got slammed. I already had so many coaching sessions. I also do paid coaching sessions, which those are not limited. But the free ones, I'm just doing something nice in the community. If you want to schedule something, you could, at this point, I'm not going to share my coding. Actually, let me share my Calendly link for you guys. I was going to actually, another way to do it is, let me share my Calendly link. I'm gonna share to the free ones. There's not, I'm pretty booked, so there might be some left, but if you guys curious, and it's first serve come basis. The only reason I'm doing it for free, just because I want to give back to the community. I did a lot of them to begin with because I wanted to practice kind of coaching. Everybody says I do a good job, and so that's good, but I'm gonna really limit it because I don't really have time right now. I only do it on Sundays, and I think there's literally 3 available time slots, maybe 4 if you're lucky, available time slots that are available. And literally there's still some time slots available, so if you want to jump in. And again, I'm gonna do this for another couple of weeks, then I'm gonna really maybe do 2 hours a week, just because it does take a lot of time out of it. But they're free, and if you want to jump in, you guys could do it. So I'm going to share this link in the comments. And before we review the code, and let's see. Okay, so basically on our backend, we're just doing a quick overview. Please revisit the stream if you want to see the details. But basically, if you look at our package JSON file, we installed this dependency, Strapi provided email node mailer. You could either Google it or get it from Strapi documentation. Then we set up our plugin by adding a user and a password for a Gmail account that's specifically set up for this use case. And then that just worked. So what I'm going to do now, notice how I'm here in reset password branch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get status. I'm going to do get add. And I'm going to get commit. And I'm not committing it to master. I'm committing it to reset password. And I'm just going to say, I don't know how to say implemented, so I'm just going to make it up. Implemented email. I'm going to say node mailer backend. And I'm going to save this, and I'm going to push it to this branch. Okay. A lot of times when I push stuff to the branch, by the way, I don't just push it to the master. What I do is I go to my GitHub. Oh, I just closed the thing. I go to my GitHub. I go to this would be the client Pablo community project API. Reset password has recently pushed less than a minute ago. The first thing I do is like create a pull request. I assign it to myself because I'm by myself. There's nobody else here. And what I do, this is going to run a test to make sure that there's no mistakes, that Netlify could actually deploy this, but also it's going to show you files changed. So I have 4 files that were changed. What I do is I review the files. You know, I make sure that I see the changes that I make. I make sure there's no mistakes. I make sure that everything looks good. And when the things look good, and I'm breezing through this because I know what we did today. Once I know everything is good, once I know that this passed like issues with my checks, then I would do squash and merge and push it to master. I'm not going to do that now because we didn't finish the full implementation of our password reset. We're going to continue working on it, but at least I set a PR request, and this will prevent you guys from pushing unreviewed code and breaking stuff. And so now let's look at the front end. On the front end, we started in our login form, and in our login form we added this link from React Router, which will take us to a forgot password page. Now, before you could click on this to check it out, what we did, what we did is we created our forgot password page, right? We have our page here. We created our forgot password form. Basically, we wrote a mutation from our backend that triggers the backend logic to send an email. We did a simple form, which basically gets our email. We test it. If there's an email, run this mutation, which basically triggers the backend. And as you saw, it sends that email to us. If there was an error, it would show error. If it was successful like it was, it shows email sent to email. And then to make sure that we were able to actually see this in our app.js, we added a route that points to our forgot password page. And so before we finish the final thing, let's test it again. Here I am at login. Before I do that, I'm going to delete this. So now look, we don't have any emails. So let's test it. So I go to forgot password page. I write coding after 30 at gmail.com. I click submit. Failed to fetch. Do you know why? Because I just deployed it. I mean, I pushed it up to GitHub and I never started it. So let me start it up. You thought I broke something. Usually does happen, but not this time. npm run develop. Let's get back to our application. Let's refresh. Let's do this process again. Oh, I forgot my password. I don't know what it is. Let's do forgot password. Let's put coding after 30 at Gmail. Click submit. Email sent to coding after 30 at gmail.com. Let's check it out. And let's refresh. And boom, here it is. Our email sent from our front end of application. So our first step is done. We still need to handle an error when there is no valid email or something went wrong. Then we have to create reset password page. Then we also have to write that logic for the backend. So we still have like 2-3 steps left, but at least we're on the way there. At least we know we're at least able to send the confirmation email from our front end. And if you want to continue to learn with me, this stream is every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, because I'm in Texas, and they'll join us whenever. And with that being said, let me look at the comments and let me know if you guys have any questions on anything that we did. And let's do some final questions. And if you are just joining us, definitely I'll keep these streams live all the time. You could also jump in. Now, randomly, I'm going to, a lot of you have been asking me, what can we do to support you? Like, you're putting on, good content, where can we send you money? Like, is there a PayPal link? Is there something? And so what I decided, like, I want to create a community. Like, if you're about code and you're actually coding on day-to-day cases, like, and you want to be part of a community that's not about just talking crap freely on Discord, but it's all about talking about this particular project and talking about projects that you're working. I set up a private community. It's literally, don't even think of it, this community for you like a thing that you pay. Just think of it, am I okay buying Paul a coffee, you know, once a month? Like, if you want to buy me a coffee once a month and get benefit of this community where I post all the notes on this project that I'm building, plus you could talk to other people in it. I share my resources. You could also share your projects. We could also talk about getting hired. You know, if you want to, you know, and I'm just going to post the stuff I post here. Like, I'm not going to solve like world problems on this private community, but it's more like, would I buy Paul a coffee for his amazing help on YouTube? And if you want to do $299 a month, there's a great way to support. So I have this community called Coding After 30 on Circle, and I'm just going to walk you through it. I didn't set up, like, I'm still in the process of setting it up, so kind of let me know. But obviously we have this welcome where you could introduce yourself. We have this Let Chat where people talking about different things, showcasing their applications. This was one of my music applications I was working on. People showing other stuff they're doing. On resources, everybody shares like certain stuff that they found useful. I also bought a Figma file. So if someone is looking to learn how to take a Figma file and convert it to HTML, CSS, I have that resource free here for you guys. Share Your Project is like the most amazing stuff. This is where people come in and share the stuff that they're working on and kind of asking the community for help or just showing what they're accomplishing, like keeping kind of like, you know, accountability. You know, Vahid did an amazing job here. He recreated everything this with pure HTML, CSS from Figma. I'm working on my projects. I talk about, you know, what I'm learning, and I am kind of showing the code that I'm using. So a lot of good helpful tips, you know, getting hired still to come. And Dev Hunter project here, like for instance, if you were wondering like, what did I do today? What did I use today? What code did I wrote to make the Strapi backend work? Well, here it is. It's, you know, you can find it here in the private community. So again, nothing too much special, but if you really like what I do and you do want to find a way to support me, $2.99 a month. It's not going to make or break me, but it will pay for, let's say, my hosting of my website. It will pay, you know, whatever, $30 towards this subscription for this thing. So it's more like, you know, kind of little support, and at least I could go to Dunkin' Donuts once a month. You know what I mean? So if this is something you want to be part of, keep an eye out. I'll let you guys know when this is fully live. Right now it's in a testing phase, and again, you never have to support me monetarily if you don't want to. This is just if you feel like you are able to do it. So that's kind of like a way for you guys to do it. So I just wanted to mention that. And again, you never have to send me money. I'll continue to do this amazing content on YouTube. So we're going to continue this build next stream, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. I also do Saturday stream at 7 p.m. Central Time where we just talk about getting hired, my thought process on what you should be learning, why you should be learning it, stuff like that. And basically it. And nice booked. Thanks a lot for free coaching. Yeah, and then it is going to get limited eventually, and it's going to be first come, first serve basis, because literally I work a lot. YouTube is not my bread and butter, and one of the reasons I'm doing like that additional community is just if I could build more support on YouTube, the more content I could give away for free on YouTube and more time I could spend. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And Tammy says, yeah, I have been about 8 to 9 Udemy guys. I really like. I jump around, have a couple of different instructors for each topic. Gives me a different perspective and helps. I don't quite understand one instructor. Good idea, Paul. Cool idea, Paul, with the thing. And the link for the secret community. So I'm going to let you guys know it's still not up yet. It's almost up there. So I will let you know hopefully by next live stream. So, and I definitely appreciate that you guys are very interested in supporting some random dude on the internet. And so let's see, like, any last thoughts, any last final questions, because usually around this mark, my voice starting to go. Let me get a sip of my coffee. Buy me another 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, Tammy. I see. And I've been blessed to be doing some amazing podcasting or live on YouTube with a John Smilga from Coding Addict. It's every Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Dude, I am thinking about it. So I have a lot going on in my life. I am definitely at one point gonna do like a 24/7 lo-fi music live stream. That would be cool. That would be awesome. I just gotta figure it out. And I'd also love to do like a marathon coding challenge for 24 hours. It'll be like insane. But yeah, and so guys, listen, what I want to say, thank you so much. Like, just before like we like answer some more questions, I just want to say, like, from the bottom of my heart, really, like, thank you for coming on to this channel and supporting me, because the support goes both ways. A lot of people say, Paul, you're giving so much value, we really appreciate you. But please understand, when I see you guys do the work, I see you guys code, like somebody shared with me recently, they're building the same project I'm building here, and they actually had questions based on what I was doing, and I helped them to implement GraphQL just because they were new to it, and it was just fantastic. And so, you know, like, this is what I want to say. I love the community. You guys are the ones that make the community. And David, hey, great question. Are you a front-end or back-end developer? I'm a full-stack developer, or working towards it. So when I got started, I started with front-end, React, and JavaScript. When I got hired at my first job at age of 39, the guy said, listen, we're hiring you because you're a React developer, but if you want to keep it, you got to learn C# and ASP.NET. So that was my introduction to backend. So I did work on some full-stack applications with ASP.NET, C# and React on the front end. Now, I don't prefer C#. C# is an excellent language, but I really like JavaScript, and I love Node. I love you know, like, I'm using CMS here, Strapi, which is built on Node and Express. And so my goal is to continue to get better as a React developer and continue to become even more or grow my understanding in backend. So what I'm going to say to you, if you don't have a job, focus on front end first. And once you get a job, you could make that transition, because trying to go full stack from very beginning, very hard road to get a job with. So really, like, that's, I mean, that's my opinion, by the way, but that's what I do. And so now for backend, right now I'm looking to get a little bit more understanding with Node. And then because my work, where I work now, they require you to know Python, I'm going to learn Python, not because I want to learn Python, but because that's my job. They're going to pay me, so I need to learn Python to keep my job. Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't done any hackathons, but I think they'll be fantastic. That's definitely like a good way to learn. Yeah, thank you, Lucky. Thank you, everybody who were able to make it. I love you guys. And if you're coming in late, jumping in late, no worries. And I do these weekly. They're always left online. And Dave says, came from Coding Phase. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. I love Coding Phase. And Coding Phase and I, we keep messaging each other. We're going to get a live stream going at some point. I'm either going to go on he's going to come here. I do want to talk about Joe and why he's successful and what makes him tick. Not just talk about his opinion on web development, but talk about literally why he's able to do the things he does, because I think that's a very important ingredient of his success. So if you go in Coding Phase, bug him to get me to go on his live. Literally, if I show you my Discord, you see we have messages back and forth. We just can't quite find the time. But anyway, guys, if you came here late, I love you guys. But if you're about to hit 2-hour mark here, lucky it's 3 a.m. here, about to collapse. I totally get it. So guys, with that being said, if you jumped in late, if you're are you still going one-on-one? Yes, I'm still doing one-on-ones. I'm still doing those. Check out my Calendly thing. I am kind of getting booked up to my wazoo, but I'm going to keep going while time allows. I'm learning a lot from coaching people, and just the best part about the one-on-ones, by the way, is that I love meeting you guys, like, and talking to you face to face. That alone to me is awesome. Like, I met so many awesome people, and Woo, you and I talked, like, I mean, this is phenomenal. And I love React.js. All my work starts in Figma. And I'd love to talk to you about that because I think it's very important for people to understand as a front-end developer, you need to be comfortable taking a Figma mock or Photoshop or Adobe XD mockup and translate it at least into HTML, CSS or into React. Like you need to know how to do that. So a lot of people ask me like, I can't do that. Can I get hired? No, you can't. Like you got to learn how to do that. So very important that you guys are doing it. But anyway, with that being said, if you guys jumping in late, like we are at the tail end, definitely rewatch the stream on 2 times the speed. It was great. I think at least I felt it was good. I think we accomplished a lot of great stuff. And with that being said, guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for everything. Bless you guys for all you guys do. Hope you guys have great rest of the week. And if you want to check me out and jump on Saturday, 7 Central Time, I'll be here. If you miss it, Monday Pacific Time on Coding Addicts channel, or next Tuesday, jump on and we're going to do it again. But anyway, thank you guys so much. And man, I'm going to just keep talking to you guys. I love it. I can't relate, Paul. I can't relate, Paul. I have been learning doing it and always the front end guy. Design is my first passion. Peace. Hey, man, that's awesome. I'd love to chat with you. Love to talk to you. Looking forward to it, by the way. And yes, there's free Figma download. Did it last night. Fantastic. So with that being said, guys, and Tammy, I have to get back to you for our next one-on-one. I'll get back to you. And all of you guys, I shared the Calendly link earlier. So scroll up somewhere, check it out. It's there. And with that being said, I love you all. Have a great rest of the night, weekend, week, whatever. And I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye. Love you all. See you later. Bye. Bye. Goodbye. Bye. 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 I should just say bye. 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 Bye-bye. Bye-bye for like an hour. And then when random people jump in, they're like, what is this guy doing? What the hell's wrong with him? He lost his mind. Bye. 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 Bye-bye.